Some Path of Exile players want to do this, while others want to build that can do this. But the only thing that stands in the way for most people is currency, which is why every league I release a series of videos to show different Atlas strategies and help you make more currency. So welcome to 7 days, 7 farms, Crucible edition. Yo guys, welcome to the video. This is Josh or Milky, and welcome to the 7 days, 7 farms series. In today's video, it's day 2, and we're going over some growing hordes, expedition, harvest, and a bit of breach. We want to see if it's any good despite the changes, and many different ways of utilizing growing hordes to get the most out of these mechanics. Enjoy the video. So let's start by talking about the strategy and why I wanted to combine these mechanics with growing hordes. Firstly, what the hell does growing hordes even do? And what it does is it replaces the innate effect of a Scarab and makes it add pack size instead. So we use polished in this example, which was 7 times 4, 28% increased pack size. Brilliant. That's the foundation that we're going to build on. Now, what scales the best with pack size in some cases is expedition, harvest, and altars. Altars obviously give you a chance for each mob to have a set chance of dropping a specific item, or it can increase the quantity and rarity of all the mobs in your map. Expedition, the remnants that make it so runic monsters have a chance to drop a specific item. Maybe it's stack deck, essence, this kind of thing, or even logbook in some cases. You want more runic monsters. These scale with pack size. Brilliant. Number 3, harvest. The seeds that harvest spawns can be multiplied. If you get 1 T3 seed, you can actually get 2 mobs with enough pack size. I don't know exactly how this works. This doesn't seem to be any kind of threshold. It's not like you reach 100% pack size and suddenly you get 2 mobs every seed. Maybe it's based on if you have 27% chance, maybe you have 27% chance to get an additional mob. Something like that. Sure, there was a case during the farm where I actually got an additional boss from 1 seed. So it also works on boss. Now, where does breach come into all of this? Well, I want to try new stuff out. I want to test stuff as we go. And breach seemed like a nice addition because the mobs from breach now scale a lot better with quantity because they now drop more breach splinters for the quantity that you have. So I thought this would be a decent method of getting some splinters, and also breach just adds a lot of mobs. So the quantity and rarity that we get from altars is going to scale nicely with them. But the tree itself is as follows. One of the first decisions I had to make was whether or not I wanted to force expedition via the Kirat Mac modifier. And that was just a no-go. So we wanted to get as much expedition chance as possible. So we're down here. We have the breach nodes. Obviously, this will be linked in the description. I'll quickly run over any choices or any really important ones. It's pretty straightforward. Flash breach, you could definitely remove if breaches are too fast for you. If you have the additional points, put them in the Ulnatal. And then the big kicker for this one is shaping the valleys. Fortune favors the brave, makes it so you will choose a random Kirat map modifier and apply it to the map. But you also, when you use shaping the valleys, get 10% quantity, 10% rarity, 10% pack size. We've already discussed how pack size and quantity is great. But expedition, as I mentioned, is on the map device, which means that this also kind of means you've got that 14% additional chance to get an expedition in your map, because 1 in 7 times you're going to get expedition with fortune. So fortune's a really nice addition to this strat. Saves you spending 8C on expedition. Yeah, you're going to get it maybe 2 in every 3 maps rather than every map, but I think it's more than worth it. So the final thing to mention is, of course, what we put into the map. What compasses did we use? We went with Jungle Valley, as I mentioned, for the altar tech. You don't need to get those boss altars. We used polished Scarabs. You could go all the way up to Gilded or Winged if you really wanted to, but I went with polished for the cost efficiency. Fortune, we've mentioned. Compasses, I went with guaranteeing the Sacred Grove. This was about 30C each, which is not a bad price to get that guaranteed life force every map. And that also means that we get more value out of the duplicated life force, which I think sets you back around 40C per. So you paid 17.5C on the harvest, which you easily get back with the amount of life force you get. I went with magic pack size, just more pack size really. You get a lot of magic mobs in breaches. Some of the runic monsters can be magic, you know. So this could be realistically anything. You could just put any amount of mobs on the map. You could get fire mobs, lightning mobs, anything. And then finally, a breach. I just wanted breach on the map, and we went with blue altars. So that's the tree. Now I'm going to go into game and show you guys how I personally run expedition. So you will have to bear with me here. I do have a different atlas. We're actually in the future where we're doing another day's strategy. So my atlas tree is not set up for expedition, but I have guaranteed one on this map, and I'll see if I can give you a decent overview of how I go about doing the expeditions. I also do a written guide on this in my Max Roll article for Expedition League Start, so you can check that out. I'll also link that in the description if you want a written version of how I do expedition. Let me just clean out the area real quick so we're not getting bothered. Right, and the first thing you want to do is have a quick look around your immediate area. The best things you can get are things that are dropped by runic monsters, because these are quite easy to scale with the amount of pack size you have, as I said. So logbooks are really good. Stacked decks are also very good. Quantity of artifacts dropped by runic monsters are very good. Double check though, because you can get it so it says stacked decks that drop from excavated chest, and that's just, it's not as good. You probably still take it, but look for the monster stuff first. So I would immediately want to grab this node. One thing I see a lot of people do is they just try and get as many remnants as possible. Unless it's benefiting you in some way, it's really not worth it. What you want to get is these skull markers right here. Now, of course, in this situation, we do want the quantity and the rarity, but here, I don't care about this quantity from excavated chests. I'm not targeting excavated chests. What I'm targeting is these runic monsters. So runic monsters have a chance to drop an essence. I would love that. And we don't need this remnant. We don't need to make mobs immune to physical damage. Just be mindful of that. And then there are ones that can brick your build. Hits against monsters cannot be crit while I'm a cast on crit build, so that is a no-go for me. What have we got up here? Chance to drop an additional rare. I don't need it. So you don't feel the need to take all the remnants. You can see exactly what they give you, exactly what they're going to do for you, and you don't need to waste your time making the encounter harder if you don't need the remnant, if it's not going to assist you in any way. And then, of course, you just clear it. This was a bit of a flaccid one because I don't have any of the Atlas passive points for Expedition right now, but just a quick brief overview of how I personally like to do Expedition, and now I did it throughout all these maps. Now, as well as this, of course, they are the vendors you're going to deal with. Now, for the loot in this video, I have included the selling price of the reroll currency. I would personally do it myself for Tujan and Danig, but for the sake of the video, I understand not everyone wants to do that. I have just included the profits as if you sold the vendor refresh currency, but if you know how to use them, do so. Again, that's in the Expedition written guide that is in the description. But let's get into the juicy stuff, the loot. Here we go. It's actually not that much. This is a really hidden benefit about this strategy. All the loot that you get is kind of concentrated into, you know, it's artifacts that are sat in your Expedition stash. It's these small amounts of reroll currency that doesn't take up loads of space. It's these life force that, again, doesn't take up a lot of space. If you don't have a lot of stash tabs, this is a really good strat for you. But we got a lot of currency, as you can see. Not many breach shards, didn't get a single uln at all. Breach was quite tame. I did get some divines from it. I did drop 2 divines from breach, because obviously the mobs, they do get those quantity and rarity bonuses. But in terms of breach splinters, I don't think we did that well. Logbooks, we got a total of 12, 13. This will all be linked on the spreadsheet, of course. And then roughly 280,000 life force, as well as a Voidborn reliquary key, which I will open. Here we go. That's just not funny, is it? If you're the guy that put this in here and you're watching this video, I don't like you very much. But let's go into the spreadsheet and have a little look at the actual numbers for this strat. Just something I didn't mention whilst we were in the map there is when you clear these maps, what you want to do is ignore the expedition and the harvest. And in some cases, the breaches, I actually did the breaches as I went. Maybe that's why they weren't as rewarding as they could have been. But you want to go through the map, take all your altar rewards, and then come back for the mechanics. Because most of the time, you're going to take these quantity and rarity, and it's no good having them if you don't. It's no good having them if you've already done those mechanics that you want to scale with them. So this does lead to the map taking a decent amount of time, which you will be familiar with if you've done this before. But with all that said, that's how I did it. So here we are in the trusty spreadsheet, and as you can see, we invested a whopping 28.9 chaos per map, which in total cost us 2,890 divines, which is a pretty big upfront cost if you were to buy the materials to run 100 maps at the beginning. But 28.9 C per map is kind of a mid-range investment. I know maybe some of you guys might be thinking that's super duper high. Trust me, there's probably going to be higher stuff coming as well as lower stuff as well, don't worry. And what I've done, yesterday it was mentioned that some of these prices have changed. I can't do anything about that. What I put in is the price that I paid. You can, if you wish, I've set this up in a way where you can make a copy of this sheet by going to File, make a copy, and then you can input your own values. You can change how many minutes it takes you per map. You can change how much these cost, and you can get an estimation of how much you're going to get in return. Obviously, it's not exact, but it is an estimation. I'm trying to make the build and the speed as irrelevant as possible for you guys because we're all going to be going at different paces. Excellence Next gave us 24.58 divines worth of returns. This is shown on a handy little picture I've got here. It shows all the high value loot at the top, obviously, and then all the less valuable stuff at the bottom. Once again, this is filtered to be things in a stack of 5C or more, so nothing completely irrelevant is showing. And then we have logbooks, the next picture, which clocked in at 3.2 divines. The life force in bulk for 280,000 life force is about 29.5 divines. The maps, we got close to 150, 200 maps, which can sell for 3 divines with the main jungle valleys. Miscellaneous loot, we got a Sharabs, a Calms, a couple of like decent fractured items. Probably get half a divine if we were to sell those. So the returns came in at 60.75 divines on a 16 divine investment. So 44.69 divines return. Over the course of 9 hours, as these maps were long, as I mentioned, we made 5.16 divines per hour, which is the profit per map that we're looking at. And it's 0.45 divines per map that we are getting returned towards, which is very, very good. It's about 80C. Can't complain about that. That is a really nice return. And the good thing about this strategy is it's very, very consistent. Obviously, you could use the vendor refresh currency yourself, in which case you've got chances to get even luckier. So if you want a strategy where you can know that in X amount of maps, you can have a certain amount of money to buy an item, this is a pretty good one. It's very predictable. It's very consistent. It's not as much divine per hour as yesterday's, but it's good returns per map. If you maybe don't have as much time, or you don't want to, you like doing longer maps, or maybe just like Harvest and Expedition and big pack sizes on your map. But this was a nice day 2 strategy. I had a really good time with this one. Join me tomorrow, where we'll be doing Legion, Delirium, we'll be in Dunes, and I've added in something just a little bit spicy. Because as I said, I want to test new stuff out. We're not just doing home runs every day here. We're going to try new stuff and see how it goes. I'll see you then.